Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Market is taking a beating. Not surprising. I'm not going to hear anything about China till Monday. Been lots of dumps. Lots of coins getting dumped. Lots of good value. I have been spearfishing a lot. I didn't want to bother with Tether because of all the uncertainty and how mysterious they are. And the fact that it dipped right here. Like, if it's backed by the dollar, how the fuck does it dip to, you know, how does it lose 10% of its value down to 90 cents if it's really backed by the dollar? Like, this isn't supposed to be, this is supposed to have zero volatility. But, so, I just, you know, it's not a big deal. If you're able to trade with USD and Bitcoin, then it's probably a good idea to set some Bitcoin lures around 35. The Chinese are dumping Bitcoin like mad. If you look at this, 3,600, 3,500, right? These are the Chinese exchanges. And I'm just going to touch briefly about what I said yesterday with countries that ban crypto or try to pull some shit like this. Like, I don't know, there, you know, I got a few comments talking about, you know, China doesn't play. China will send you to prison camp. And I'm just going to say two things on that. Basically, China's not that bad when it comes to sending you to prison death camp. Like, I got really good friends there. And it's like, yeah, you can go to jail, but it's not some fucking prison death camp where you know, you're going to starve to death. It's nothing like that. And the fact is, the people who are messing with crypto are like white collar people, like everyday people. If everyone used crypto, then they'd have to send everyone to jail. And it's like, eventually they would realize that they couldn't do it, right? Because it costs money to lock people up. And if people just stuck to their guns, they would realize these are non-violent people. They're just wanting to use their cryptocurrencies. If people realize what's happening, China just wants to create their own coin. That's all they want to do. They want to push everything out, create their own coin. It's not going to work. They're going to end up taxing Bitcoin. That's my theory. But, and people, you know, it's like, I put my mouth where my mouth is. Like, I wouldn't care. Like, dude, put me in a fucking prison camp. I don't give a fuck. Like, I'm either going to A, leave the country, or B, be in prison before I become a slave. You can't threaten me with my freedom. You can't threaten to take my freedom, right? So then I hand you my freedom. Because that's all you do, right? When you lay down your ideals, you're just giving up your freedom. So you might as well be in a prison camp, because your life and soul are in a prison camp, because you might be able to live on the outside, but you're not really free. You're not really living, right? And that's true. You want to know why? Because when I was a fucking kid, when I was a little fucking kid, they took poker away. And I fucking left the country. I left the United States. I never left the house. If you ask any of my friends, I didn't drive. I never left the house. I would just have people deliver food to me, and I just would always be inside. I never left, never traveled, never left outside the country. Had to get my passport. Never went on family vacations, really, because we weren't the richest growing up. The point is, I didn't know another language. I didn't know any language. I didn't know anybody in the country that I moved to. I didn't know anything. I just said, fuck this. I'm leaving. They're taking my right to play poker away. I'm fucking going someplace where I can. And I left the country. And I moved to fucking Mexico. And I moved to fucking Costa Rica. I didn't know anybody there. I didn't speak the language. Right? I just fucking looked on Craigslist, got a hold of some guy, and moved the fuck out. I know not everybody's like that, but that's me, man. I'm preaching what I live there. I've done this. I've left the fucking country because my rights are taken. You think I'm gonna fucking let somebody take Bitcoin? I'll be hopping countries to wherever it's a quote unquote freest, and then fight from within, right? Attack the outside. Not fucking, I don't know. It's just like, that's the reason we can be enslaved, is because you allow it. It's one person that flocks, and it's like a domino. It's all these shake weak hands, ready. I don't want to go to prison death camp. Oh, here are all my Bitcoins. It's just so fucking pathetic. If that's your mindset, whatever, man. But take your 2 cents and take it elsewhere. I don't care about your fucking weak mindset. I don't give a fuck that you're afraid to go to prison camp. I don't promote that shit, being enslaved. I don't promote it. Fuck what China does. You think that has a bitch ass thing? I'm not going to do anything. That's another thing. It leads to dumps. People are dumping Bitcoin. People are dumping all kinds of coins. I mean, look at what this. People are literally dumping it right now for $500 off. It's just so sick. And what's happening? That does not change the value of Bitcoin. It costs $1,500 roughly right now to create one Bitcoin out of energy. It's not free. Bitcoins aren't free. Plus all the technology and benefits that come with Bitcoin. That is the point. Like, you can't dump something that has value. You can dump it, but then you're just catching it. And that's how the whales, and then people are like, oh, well, the whales are always dumping. It's like, how do you think whales become whales? Who do you think is buying the coins that you're fear dumping? Who's paying you? Who's buying the dumps? Think about that next time you panic dump. Who's there to buy it? If it's really that bad of a coin, who's buying it? Who's the jackass buying all the coins? Oh, there's so many whales. You're feeding the fucking whales. That's why there's so many whales. Whales are quote unquote people with balls, people with intent, people with a fucking brain. That's all a whale is. They're the ones taking the risk. You're the one that, without whales, no one would catch your fear dumps, would they? So you should be thanking the whales so your bitch ass can get out when you want to, when there's a slight FUD floating around. And I don't give a fuck how many dislikes I get for calling people out. Fuck it. I don't care. Unsub a million times. And, you know, unsubbing's like going to the bathroom. You know, this isn't fucking high school. You don't gotta comment when you unsub. Just fucking do it. I'm tired of all the weak hands complaining. It's funny, the weak hands will dump to oblivion, and then they'll turn around and be the same people that complain about whales. And it just makes no fucking sense, because if no one dumped, there'd be no whales. You know why there'd be no whales? Because then they would have to buy up the ladder and the price would skyrocket. And that means you would become rich, because they would be raising the price for you, and they wouldn't be able to become whales because it's the law of diminishing returns. The more you buy, the larger the price gets, the littler you can get. Whales don't become whales by buying at the high and all the way up the ladder. They don't become whales being that. They become whales by people panic dumping Bitcoin down to oblivion. People panic dumping any of these beautiful coins to oblivion. I mean, look at fucking Neo, just dumping. I saw somebody, I was reading that somebody dumped 20,000 Bitcoins at one time, crashed the price from like 46 down to like 38. That's how the whales become rich. And I don't know, it's just like, you can't teach loyalty. That's the one thing. And loyalty spills over into all things in life. Loyalty to yourself, mate. That's where it starts. Loyalty to yourself. You get into an investment, and if governments or outside FUD or bullshit can change your mind and make you dump for either a loss, it's a loss. People, it's so funny, man. I had a friend. I had to really teach him, and it really clicked for him when I broke it down. He was like, man, you know, with all the FUD going around, I just sold my fucking Bitcoin. I'm just going to wait it out and see what happens. And he's like, I still made a profit though, so I'm all good. And I was like, when did you buy that? And he was like, oh, you know, I got it, you know, X time ago, you know, a few weeks ago or whatever. And he, you know, he made like $100 profit or something. And I was like, man, you know, so I was like, so let me get this straight. You invested X amount of money for that long, and you only made $100, and you call that a profit? I was like, that $100, you only made $100 in that amount of time. Break that down. How much is that a day? That's like less. That's like a, you know, it's like that's a few bucks a day or something. $5 to $10 a day you made on that money that you had locked up, and that energy, right? Because that's energy. It took time, and you had to go and you had to do it, and you had to buy it. You had to set the lures. If you call that profit, then you know that's terrible. It's not profit at all. It's a terrible mindset. It's just like, man, you just lost a lot of money. And that's the thing. It's just like people are just. It's like, I don't know, man. I don't get it. I really don't understand. I do understand now. I've always been a hermit in my turtle shell or whatever the fuck you want to call it. Like it's not even that. I've never really bothered with the outside world. I didn't give a fuck. If you could, I'm sure you can imagine. I didn't give a fuck. I was just focusing on me, and then I started doing this creating content stuff, and of course I have to interact with other humans. And I'm starting to see it, and it's just so crazy. I feel like an alien. It's just like, no, what are you doing? Why are you doing that? And I'm looking around like, whoa, I thought you were smart. Why are you doing this? And then you start to really see when you know, push comes to shove, and the burners turning up, you start to see, like, I don't know, it's crazy. A shout out to a lot of good people though, man. Like Holler at Crypto, Ivan on Tech, Box Mining, Crypto Daily, of course. There's a ton of them. I'm sure I'm going to miss a lot, but you know, they just report it, you know, they just call it how they see it. They're, you know, they're not weak. There are no weak hands. and there's just a big community, and I really love it. I really love the fact that the community is the way it is. It's just, man, it's gonna happen. You know, I mean, some FUD's gonna come out. It's gonna sap 30 bill. You know, I mean, we're at 170 doing good, and then all this crazy bullshit started happening. And then of course it just started taking huge chunks out overnight. People just taking out and running. And I don't understand what they're running to. So like, let's say they panic sell, they take their money, and then China makes their own China coin, and then just buy that. It's like, do you really think the China coin's gonna go up in value that much? Like, who's always going to buy the China coin? Yeah, they can make it mandatory, but then it's capped. Because then it's only a China, and it can only come so big, and then Bitcoin's worldwide. I don't know. It's just silly. It's all silly. It's just so obvious that they're just trying to say, like, F you, we have to control everything. And there's nothing anyone can say about it. The whole fucking country could be like, we want this, and then one guy in the government could be like, no, I want this, and then it reigns supreme. If that's the world you want to live in, holler at you. You know, hey, cool, whatever. I know I'm talking out of my ass. There's nothing I can do about it except, live what I say, and I basically country hop when I have to. And I mean, just try to spread awareness about cryptocurrency, freedom, mindset. What else the fuck, right? I don't have fucking nukes. I can't do anything. Not that I would use them, but it's just, I don't know. It's just a weird feeling when you feel, wow, Vertasium's so down. Look at that. The whole market's down so much. I remember when I was buying it way back when for that price. But yeah, man, it sucks when you feel powerless sometimes, like, because the governments can kind of just do what they want. You kind of feel powerless. You're like, well, what can I do? And it's like, you can preach, but then you sound kind of hypocritical, because it's like, I don't know. It's like, what the fuck? It just sucks, because it's a very slippery slope, because guess what? Yeah, you adopt China, and then they start doing that, and then all these countries start making their own coin, and there's a death of Bitcoin, death of the decentralized dream. And then to become decentralized would be like having to have like winning a third-party bout in the presidential campaign in this day and age, meaning like if you're not Republican or Democrat. It just means the centralized coins are going to become so powerful that there's just nothing you can do, and no one's going to use your coin, because that's the whole point of a coin. That's the reason Bitcoin's great, because everyone uses it. It's kind of like, for some odd reason, the Republican and Democrat didn't show up, and the third party guy is the only one here, and it's Bitcoin, and everyone's cheering, and everyone's like, yeah, we love Bitcoin, this guy's awesome. And then now you're starting to see like the other camp, the centralized versions, like, oh, well, wait, we can't have this. And now they're trying to fucking pick up slack, but they kind of, they fucked up, because we're here, Bitcoin's way in the lead. And now you're just going to see some corrupt shit. Like, that's the only way they're going to catch up at all, is you're just going to see some outlandishly corrupt shit, like in your face, fuck you and your freedom, corrupt shit. You just have to ask yourself, are you going to dump if that's the case? If your big bad government says you can't ever use cryptocurrencies again, I don't know. Like, and I'm going to get really real here, and it is what it is. But people always want to use having kids as an excuse. And it's just like, man, I don't believe in putting life on a pedestal. Life's not on a pedestal for me. And what that means is I'm not attached to it. It's not like something where I'm like, oh, I cling to life. I'm so afraid to die. And that teaches your kids the same energy. You're teaching them this clingy, desperate slave mentality where they're like, you have to fold, son. Life is more important than dignity and freedom. And then your kids will teach, and it's just like a chain of cancer that you spread, because you're so desperate and clingy to life that at any sign, for people, there used to be revolutions and shit. Like, people had just, now it's like the revolutionary are against each other over stupid shit, right? Like, you see all the riots and stupid fighting against each other. It's like, why are you fighting each other? It's like, it's right? It doesn't even make any sense. It's just, but people are just angry and confused, and they don't really know who to lash out at. And that's what happens. People need a strong funnel for their anger. And there's nothing that can rise that type of anger than, these crazy riots and protests and killing each other. Crazy shit going on in the world. And it's happening faster and faster with all the hurricanes and all the crazy natural events that are just coming out of nowhere, devastating what is already a hurt economy. And then you just, you have this beautiful innovation for life, and you see all these people who are actually, early adopters and getting rewarded for being an early adopter. That's what the beauty is in this country or in this world, is usually when you're first on the line of innovation. That's why people in Facebook are billionaires. That's why people in all of these companies, Twitter, Snapchat, because they were early adopters. And then even before that, and then you just see countries trying to stifle it. It's just like humans have outgrown the need for these capped governments that cap our creativity, that cap what we can do in life, that suppress how we can grow. It's kind of like the story of the monkey and the fish. The monkey panics because he sees the fish underwater and grabs the fish and pulls him out of the water and says, "Here, let me save you. You're drowning." And he puts him safely up the tree. You think you know what's best for someone else, but what you think is best for someone else can end up being terribly destructive and actually suffocate the life out of the very thing you're trying to save. You don't always know what's best for the other human, other person. You think you know, but your thoughts are very, very, very dangerous, because there's not. You're right until you're wrong. And that's very hard to a lot of people who have power, when it's like as clear as day, I'm right. And, it's just like the monkey seeing the fish. The monkey thinks, whoa, it can't breathe, right? Because it doesn't know the fish. It doesn't understand what it's doing. And it thinks what it's doing is obvious, right? We need to give these people freedom, and we need to give them democracy, and we need to do that. And you don't understand that you're just suffocating cultures. So today's a big poker day. Actually, I went on a little bit of a wine trail there, but I'm going to be killing it here. Wish me luck. Cheers. Peace.